Yo, what's the deal? It's your boy J16 here to keep it real and drop it on another topic. Man, I'm cruising, like I like to say, cruise control vibe. Just sitting here thinking about what the next topic's gonna be that I'm gonna give y'all some insight in. I know last week I did the whole topic on Diddy and if Bad Boy catalog should be canceled or however you would like to say it. And I know the audio is kind of off, so I apologize for y'all. If y'all stuck through the audio struggles I'll be going through. Honestly, this whole podcasting thing is new to me. I never was a real big, I was never like really big on trying to do like podcasts and anything of that nature. People let me know, oh, you got so much ideas and topics and concepts of hip hop, so you should definitely get into this whole podcast thing. And from that point on, I just was like, I tried one, it was cool. Did another one, it was cool. And overall, I've been doing good. If you, as you know, always looking for followers, looking for subscribers. If your first time listening to it, definitely welcome to the Riddim And Poetry Podcast. We drop topics in all different types of areas. Especially around hip hop culture. So every Thursday, every Friday, I'm tripping. It's not Thursday anymore. It's Friday. So every Friday at 7 p.m. we dropping new topics. So today, I think what I'm gonna get into is gonna be tied into this whole battle that's going on, right? And I felt like this would be a good episode to break it down, like the whole idea of the battle rap. And I did actually a podcast on the 50 best disses of all time when it comes to the battle raps. If you get a chance, definitely check it out. But where I wanted to get into is this concept of the whole K-Dot versus J. Cole versus Drake. Now, this is going to be an interesting battle. I think if they decide to really take it to the bars, it's going to be really cool to see. And I know people are like, oh, man, if you from the 90s, you've seen all types of battles, from the Nas to the J's, from the Cannabis to L's, so many different areas of battling. And then even 2000s, you got the Meeks and the Drakes and the 50s and the Jaws. And then you can go down into the 80s, you got the Kool Moe Dee and the LL Cool J's and shit, like all types of levels and different types of battles and different types of areas. But when it comes to like doing it, it hasn't really been done the way it was done in the past, because rapping now has become such a sport of just people trying to sell records and not really everybody's friends, and it's really no real beefing. Like back in the day, there was like real levels of beefing. Now there was some that was strictly to the bars, right? You see the LL versus Cannabis, that was a strictly bars. Like LL says something about Cannabis, that how Cannabis said something initially to LL about he'll take the mic off his arm, but he didn't really mean no diss to L. And then L came back with his battle, his verse, and they were going back and forth. And for most people that remembers that time, if you weren't from like the mindset of like the 80s, you just said, yo, Cannabis bodied LL, right? Cannabis was such a better rapper when it came to the lyrical caliber, but LL just had all the fan base. And we tend to look at that as a battle that was strictly one level of an artist who was up and coming versus a level of an artist who was established. Traditionally, those battles usually go to the more established. Then we get into levels of rap where it's established artists who battle each other. So you get the Beanie Sigel versus Jadakiss, which to me is one of the greatest battles of all time because it was evenly balanced. Some people will say Jada won. Some people will say Beanie won. To me, I'm a Jada fan all day, every day. But to me, that battle was like really evenly balanced because the verse that Beanie Sigel came after Jay with was like, to me, one of the hardest verses I ever heard a diss rapper say. Even when he starts the verse, like, fuck the speculation, talk over. Nigga, dig this, I'm about to sun kiss like a soda. Like, come on, like, that line right there just was like, oh, shit, this dude is on a different level. So when I think about rap battles of like rappers that were established, like I just said, the Jada versus Beanie, or the Nas versus Jay, which to me is still the greatest battle of all time. Because I literally seen people in my school fighting over that shit. Like, that was the craziest thing ever. Yo, Jay-Z better than Nas, Nas better than Jay-Z. Like, growing up north, like, that was the thing. Like, yo, Jay-Z versus Nas was a really pick your side, what side you want to be on. Me, I was a Nas fan all day, so I definitely took Nas' side at the time. As time went on, I've appreciated what Jay-Z did, so I'm definitely a Hov fan too. But I will say, like, that was a strictly from if you like a New York concept mindset through our sports teams, that was like a Yankees versus Mets type shit, right? So it was a pure, like, you only could pick one side, you can't be on the other side type shit. So that was a concept behind what we got. Then, South had their own shit too. You had the Jeezys versus Gucci's and the T.I.'s versus Luda's, right? You had other battles that were happening similar, like Slim Thug versus Lil Flip, like very similar but happening in a different region. And then you go to the West Coast, classic battles, the Eazy-E versus Dr. Dre and Snoop, the Ice Cube versus NWA. Like, you get the classic ones like that. And for the most part, you don't see a really high velocity of the battle rap unless you were on the East Coast, because the other regions weren't doing it as much as ours. And it just comes down to the same concept that the hip-hop started in New York, and the basis of what hip-hop was a challenge. It was a battling art form. It was a form that had this show, like, I'm better than you doing what I do, right? Whatever elements of hip-hop you want to say. If it's rapping, I'm better than you with my bars. If it's graffiti, I'm better than you at bombing. If it's DJ, I'm better than you at cutting. So it was always a level of battling that was part of the essence of what the true, purest form of hip-hop was. Fast forward everything until we get to where we are now with Kendrick. And what I do appreciate about what Kendrick is doing, because when I think of Kendrick Lamar, it gives me a great feeling of what hip-hop aspired to be, right? It was where the future hip-hop, I wanted it to become. I wanted artists to have a blueprint of all of these great artists from the past and elevate the game to an essence of great lyrical content, great poetry, great metaphors and similes, great personification, great essence of what real, true poetry is. The same way you would get when you hear a song, a poem by Langston Hughes or Nikki Giovanni, right? Or Maya Angelou. Like, great poetry, also in lining it with rhythm, giving us beats, and truly tying to what the culture is based on. And that's what I felt Kendrick coming into the game gave us. It was where my vision of hip-hop at this age, I wanted it to become, and Kendrick gave us that, right? He, from his original mixtapes, when he was doing songs on Section 80, Keisha's song and things of that nature, to after that doing more songs when it comes to these compilation tracks with the hearts, right? The heart part 1 down, last one was the heart part 5, with these type of compilation things, and then giving us like really in-depth and insightful albums like, Good Kid, Mad City, to How to Pimp Butterfly, to Damn, which is won a Pulitzer Award, to even like his latest with Mr. Rap Morale and the Big Steppers. Like, he was giving us the essence of what pure hip-hop was, and he was also being co-signed by a great backdrop of one of the most brilliant and greatest producers of all time in Dr. Dre, plus the whole West Coast, right? So that's what Kendrick was giving us. Then you, on the other hand, had a kid that he's going against that's coming out of Fayetteville, North Carolina, that when I first heard him, he's literally, J. Cole to me is what allowed me to stop being biased to 90s hip hop, right? It was, my sister put me on him. It was around 2007, 2008. I wasn't a big J. Cole fan. I didn't even listen to his music. It wasn't that I wasn't a fan of him. I just felt that every artist, after I went through the whole wave of Laffy Taffy and fucking Walk It Out and all these dancing ass songs with fucking, what's his name, Soulja Boy and shit, I was already on some time like, yo, I ain't even trying to listen to that shit. I don't even listen to hip hop. I'm good. Anything that's from 2001 down, I could listen to. After that, it just gets, internet takes over, too much corny ass music's coming out because all these young kids that ain't never been through shit is making whack ass songs they in they mom's basement on computers, and I was cool with it. You know what I mean? I'd rather listen to music I grew up to because it was the essence of the purity of what hip hop to me was. Then through time and time, my sister's pushing me. Yo, you gotta check this out. J. Cole. Now, crazy fact is, when I first heard J. Cole, I knew he was different because he sounded like a rapper from the time I listened to rap, but it also was the same concept I got with Kendrick. He elevated the skill set. He was the level of hip hop that we knew it could aspire to be was already created with J. Cole because he had the blueprint of all these other artists. And he was able to give us music that sounded the way we wanted to sound, began with all of the traditional great things that producers give you, right? From every mixtape he put out, right? Friday Night Lights to his albums, where you go down to the Born Sinner and all the mixtapes he put out, from Truly Yours, and you know, even his album, like, you know, Forest Hill Drive, down to like the Kids on Drugs, to even like his last one when it comes to his past one, right? So most of the music that I was getting from Cole was giving me that feeling the same way that Kendrick was giving me, and I was appreciative of that. Now we get to the third artist. Now the third artist was what I did not want hip-hop to aspire to become. Softy music. And because I'm a purist from the 90s, I always looked at as hip-hop as a masculine-ass form of music. It was a music that was masculine, that was not sensitive. And when Drake came out, it was a reversal of that. See, Drake, to me, was an artist that sounded like he should be a woman. Like, it was not, like, not trying to knock him or anything. He was crying, he was very sensitive, everything about it was like pillow talking ass dude, like a sucker. Like, everything about him, to me, was like, this dude is corny, he's a sucker, he's whack. Because everything he's doing is totally different from what I believe hip-hop should aspire to be. Hip-hop is a masculine art form, in my opinion, that shows the essence of the purity of what we as men was doing, right? We was outside, we was playing ball, we was vibing out, we was just showing like very aggressive ass things, and it was almost like, in a weird way, it was like over aggressive, that hip hop was taking and they basically glorifying that nature. But I loved it because it was nothing soft out here. You needed that. That was the music that got me right when you ever get jumped and you need a feeling to feel like, yo, how the fuck I'm gonna get through this shit because I gotta go confront these motherfuckers again? Yo, that's what hip-hop was. Like, it was, yo, put this shit on, I'm about to get into. Now, I need to relax, I need to chill, I need to vibe. I'll be with my girl, she can help me decompress. I ain't got stress going on, she can help me through all that shit. And I was like, I'll go to her house, she'll probably have some R&B and shit playing, and that's the essence of what I would get from her vibe. I did not want the essence of that shit in my vibe. And with Drake, I felt like his music was giving us that. Now, a lot of people may say, well, prior to hip-hop, artists like the Isley Brothers, Teddy Pendergrass, Marvin Gaye, Al Green, they were doing music that was R&B singing, and they were. but it still had a masculine aspect to it that I could vibe with. Like, it's like Baby Boy. You see Melvin, he gives you the essence of what, like, a man in a household is, right? And it's listening to the classic OJs and shit and the Temptations, and they were smooth and shit like that. But it also showed me that there was levels to being sensitive and also being emotional that could still be tied to your masculine aspect. And what I felt Drake was doing with his music wasn't that. I felt like what he was doing, and this is just my opinion, when I first heard him, I felt like what he was doing on songs was literally anything to sell a record. So he was selling out every aspect of what pure hip hop should be, in my opinion. And he was doing it just for the ladies and elevating it so high for the ladies that he knew that the records would be sold through the ladies. And it just reminded me of a dude that Dirty Mac back in the day, like, would talk about you to another girl so you couldn't get with her, and then would take her. It just felt like a clown move that his rap songs were giving me that vibe. And nothing about him sounded like anything that I was used to or wanted to hear. Now, it's crazy that I'm saying all of this, right, about Drake, because throughout the years, I started to appreciate what he brought to hip-hop. I appreciated the fact that Drake was allowing us to see new forms of music, right? I don't think there would be Afro beats without Drake. I think we knew there was Afro beats when you were from Nigeria, but I think if you weren't from Nigeria, you ain't know what the Afro beats was, and I think Drake gave us that. Another aspect is I think Drake was so comfortable with being himself. He didn't talk about selling drugs. He didn't talk about any of that stuff. But I also felt like because of that, he at least was true to himself. And I could appreciate that, a person that's true to themselves. And also, he knew how to make good hits. Like, there's nothing I can't say about Drake. From every damn Drake album that was put out, he can make a hit off of that shit. I remember listening to 0 to 100 or Energy or any of his songs that he actually raps on. I'm vibing, the beats there, you know what I mean? Everything about this shit is dope. And I'm like, yo, this song is hot. Now, I can't get with all of them, but some tracks, definitely I see Drake could really be an artist that I could agree with certain aspects because he can rap. Now, fast forward to where we are now, giving you those little backgrounds, and now we have those three types of artists in a conflict with one another. Now, how does it start? Who knows? I really don't have a vision point of when the beef really started. People say with Kendrick and Drake, the beef started from around Energy time. Well, Control time, when Kendrick put out the song dissing Drake and everybody else. And then also, there's lots of little different elements of what could happen around the concepts around when Blessed came out around Big Sean times and the verse being taken out. And that's how Kendrick started not fucking with Drake. Not Kendrick, Kanye started stop fucking with Drake. So Drake has he's always tied into something that is just a certain level of, like, he's beefing with people in a certain weird way. Now, the Future side, because Future's in this too, and I'm not looking at Future as the big three. That's what the whole concept was. I don't think Future, I heard it was about a girl, like, it's some bullshit. And it maybe it's not. It maybe it's all different areas, but it's levels to why I feel like they all started beefing. Now, J. Cole and Kendrick, I don't think they have any beef. I just think Kendrick needs to see where J. Cole is aligning with. So he just was trying to fill him out. Like, yo, who you really rocking with? Like, you what's going on? Because I see you doing songs with Drake, and is you down with Drake or whatever aspect it is? And I don't think it's a beef between them. But for all, let's say there is. And let's say we're going to get some battling going on. And who's going to take the crown when this battling gets going? Now, in my opinion, I'm really leaning towards different types of artists that I could think would be a great essence of where this battle could be. And why I'm really vibing with it is because I can actually put those artists into categories of artists that I grew up listening to. You could look at like Kendrick as a new version of Ice Cube, or Chuck D, or KRS-One, like an artist who got bars, who speaks very truthful, political type level rhymes that he come to you with the crazy combination of lyrics, put them together with deep double entendres, and you can't read through the line with subliminal hits here and there. And I don't think nobody can fuck with him when it comes to that. So if it was me, I would say I'm looking at, if this was back in the day, I'm looking at this crazy concept of Chuck D, KRS-One, and Ice Cube in one, saying what the fuck you want. And if you look at those artists, if we're gonna base it off of that, KRS-One, one of the hardest diss tracks of all time, with The Bridge Is Over. Nobody he actually made Queens not really get put back on the map until Nas came out. He crushed them that hard, and it's still to one of these days one of the hardest fucking lines of all time, when he says Manhattan keeps on making it, Brooklyn keeps on taking it, the Bronx stays creating it, and Queens keeps on faking it. Come on, like that shit is a hard ass line that didn't have no punchlines, metaphor, nothing to it, but just was something that's like, damn. And then he had, after that, it was like the damn you said after that shit, he had fucking DJ Red Alert, like, yeah, on the song and shit. So it's like, that's what you get when you got, who I feel like when I see Kendrick, that KRS-One energy. And then you got Ice Cube, right? Like, that's another aspect I see Kendrick like. You got Ice Cube, who is like, come on, man. Ice Cube, bruh, he took the whole NWA out with one diss song. Like, chickadee, check yourself before you wreck yourself. No Vaseline, one of the hardest, if not hardest, diss songs of all time. And that's fucking Ice Cube, right? And that's who I feel like Kendrick embodies when he rhymes at times too. He even says lines like, even on Good Kid, Mad City, he used that Ice Cube line. That's when he says, fresh out of school, wasn't a high school grad, gotta get a job because I'm a high school dad. And on that song, when he uses that line is the intro on the song he has with MC Rent, forget his name, MC8, right? So you get like a essence of who he is. And then lastly, when you say Chuck D ain't got no battles. I think he got one battle when he going as the Run DMC in a weird way. I think that's a subliminal. I'm gonna do a whole podcast on subliminal lines. You ain't know people were dissing people, but then you find out with dissing on whatever. But when he got Down for the King, like 1, 2, 3, not down. When Down for the King was dissing him, but the other song when he's like, they used the Biggie sample too. When he's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and he's using a Biggie sample that in 10 Crack Commandments, but that's a Chuck D song. And Chuck D got so many public, Into the Terror Dome, to like so many different tracks that Public Enemy put out that you can't really fuck with Chuck D on so many levels. So I got that part when I look at who Kendrick is. Kendrick is the bodies of those three. Now, on the other hand, if I'm going to say who I feel J. Cole is, J. Cole, when I see J. Cole rap, J. Cole gives me the essence of, definitely Nas. Nas, he also, in a great way, gives me that essence of like somebody like Common, right? And he's also coming under the wing of Hove. So, part of his music and stuff is still being tailored in a weird way from people like Jay. So if you see, when I think of J. Cole, I think of a Nas, I think of a Common, and I think of a Jay. You're going to get an essence of an artist who is like truly put together, who does not miss, who makes everybody sound better when he gets on a track. And when you see those three type of artists, come on, we got Nas. There's nothing else you could say about Nas. Nas got the hardest diss in all time with Ether. Ether was fucking crazy. And people hands down, Nas is one of the greatest albums of all time. Nas is one of the greatest rapper, if not the greatest rapper of all time. And J. Cole embodies him when I hear him rap. So you gonna think J. Cole gonna come in with bars, straight good metaphors, lyrical similes, everything. He gonna personify it in different areas. He's gonna be a straight lyrical assassin. And that's what I feel when I hear him get on a song. So, and he's the most consistent recently of all the artists. He's just so consistent when it comes to the tracks. And you're going to hear it, like when he puts stuff together. And it's going to be one of those that you're like, damn, that's Nas all day long. That's why he had the song, I Let Nas Down. And Nas had to get on remix, like, you ain't let me down, bro. But it was like he is embodying of what we feel Nas is like. And then you got a next side of Common, who Common came out with I See the Bitch in You dissing Ice Cube back in the day, bodied Ice Cube, but also had the essence of pure Chicago skill set, bars, lyrics, every essence you could say comes out of what Common does when he raps. And that's when I hear him, that's another side of J. Cole I get when I hear him rhyme. And it's like, yo, J. Cole got this in a different level, a different skill set, a different energy, and it's all put together in one area. And that's why I really appreciate him when he puts bars and rhymes together in different ways, right? From everything he does, right? That's why the essence of storytelling, in a weird way, I can see like Ghostface too, and people like Ice Cube with Slick Rick, with great storytellers, that J. Cole has an essence in him too. And lastly, I see an artist like Jay-Z, who he's under the wing of, who can make songs but also give you hits. And his way of making music can at times get really deep, but also can make songs that you be like, yo, this is a vibe, it's something I can dance with. And that's coming under the wing of Jay. And also Jay being with him, mentoring him, saying you gotta talk to these other young artists, because hip-hop gotta be something that we vibe with to the day we die. So he's making songs with the Little Uzi verse, he's making songs with the Little Durks, he's making songs with 21 Savages. He's making so many different songs that when you hear them, you just gotta be like, yo, you know what? J. Cole is at so many different levels, and I appreciate the things that he does, and I'm going to be really looking forward to seeing how he would get in a battle. Then you also got to think, that's Jay. Jay got a whole line when he says, I want to rap like Common Sense, but I did 4 mil. I ain't even rapping like Common Sense. And Jay always wanted to sound like Jay comes from his intro to the game under Jazzo was a rapper who was straight political, God body, 5% Nation. So that's who Jay-Z is. Jay-Z has so many different introspective values and skill sets to him that I could see J. Cole really taking that and when it gets to a battle, really showing people like, yo, this is what I do, this is how I do it, and people really can't fuck with when it comes to this game, especially when it comes to this battle. And lastly, I see Drake. Now, the crazy thing about Drake is Drake reminds me so much of rappers like LL Cool J, Ja Rule, all of the essence of artists who could really make music, and the music they make is strictly for the ladies, but also is lyrical assassins. And that's when I think of somebody like Drake. First off, Drake got one of the hardest disses when he battled Meek Mill. And it's a club banger. That's the one thing Drake got all over both of them, is he know how to make club bangers. Drake can make hits. And Drake can make a diss song where everybody sing the lyrics. He did it with Meek Mill. So you can see him doing it again. And that's what Drake has over. That is the effect that Drake got. Drake got the ladies tied in. And when you have the ladies tied in, you get the clubs tied in. When you get the clubs tied in, you get all the parties tied in. You get the national shit. You get everything. Back to Back came out, was a club banger, and it's a diss song. The others are pure rapping assassins, but Drake got the ladies on lock. So I could see Drake coming out with a dish, just like LL. LL was a lyrical assassin. Ladies love Cool James. Only made music for the ladies. But when Kumo D or Ice-T or Cannabis or any one of those rappers came at his ass, bow, hit him over the head. Like, it wasn't even nothing they could do, right? Jack the Ripper to Mama Said Knock You Out to I'm Bad. Like, he got diss songs that are crazy, right? And these are the essence of who LL is. And when LL gets on a song, when he was battling, he got on songs, he battled more people than a little bit and took them out. And that's where I see Drake as like, shit, I'm going to come with the LL energy. Who fucking with me? So Drake, yeah, don't take his kindness for weakness. Now, Drake do got some flaws in his belts. That's the one thing that they got over him. If you come too hard with too much shit, Drake gonna bow out. We saw that shit happen with Pusha T. Pusha T put that fucking song out, and we ain't heard shit from Drake. That nigga bowed out. He ain't even make no response. And they said, "Nah, you got it. You got it, bro." You know what I mean? And that's where the flaw in Drake's character is. Yeah, he has been battle tested, but he also has got hit with some knockouts, and it's not a lot of rappers. It's a small percentage of rappers in this game that get a knockout blow and don't ever bounce back. And there's only really one we can think of is Ja Rule. And that's another person I think of Drake like. Ja Rule, like, bruh, you know what I mean? They got battle tested and they weren't able to bounce back. No, I think Drake is gonna be Ja Rule. Hell no. Like, that got too much time tied to him to become that. But he also has a lot of the essence of who those artists are. And maybe we're in a different type of music. We're in a different time when it comes to this rhyming, when it comes to all this shit now. So we could probably say those artists are not gonna be like at this time with this oversensitive nature of hip hop where it's being very demasculinized in this weird way. I always say the women are a lot more masculine than the men now, right? Men are wearing dresses, women talking with deep voices. That's what hip-hop is at this moment. So maybe at that mindset, a person like Drake could actually elevate to be better at here because he'll have a stronger fan base with the types of fans of hip-hop at this moment. But it's still going to be interesting to see all those artists come together in one to see how they battle. Now, they always say they the big three, just like back in the day when we said, when Jay-Z said the line, who's the best MCs, Biggie, Jay-Z, and Nas? Now, the big three, Kendrick, Cole, Drake. And when Kendrick said it's not the big three, it's just me, he let them niggas know, bruh. Ain't nobody fucking with me when it comes to this bargain. I'm going to be interested to see how this battle goes. Funny aspect is Drake, Kendrick, J. Cole, it's going to be good to see him. I remember when I first saw J. Cole, I remember seeing him perform. I was at Howard Homecoming in like the year 2008. And Cole was we was at Love. Cole was at the top floor. Drake was in the middle floor. Kid Capri was DJing. Drake was rapping in the crowd. I remember looking at somebody, yo, this corny ass thing. It's 2008. Like, I don't want to hear this thing. It's like all he do is sing. But look at where we at now, how big and this motherfucker is as a rapper. So it's going to be really interesting to see how all three of them mesh together. If I was a betting person and you said who gonna take it, just because I've seen the flaws in one of the characters, so you already have a blueprint of how to beat them. I can't say Drake's gonna get it. And that's not even no bias on, like, I don't like Drake or not. Nah, I bang with Drake in certain areas. So I can't say Drake's gonna get it because I've seen the flaws of how he lost, but I also seen how he could win. So it's gonna be interesting. But I've seen him take a big L and I've seen him take a big W. So you have a blueprint of seeing how that artist could win or lose. Now, J. Cole, I think the battle will be more interesting between Kendrick and Cole if they do respond. I think Cole is I think when you think about it, Cole's album, Kids on Drugs, and Kendrick's album, Big Morale, the Mr. Morale, the Big Steppers, were very similar concepts. You know, KOD was very personification of all the drugs we're on, from social media addiction to the addiction to real drugs, addicted to money, all aspects of addiction. And then I see like Mr. Morale as Kendrick personifying black trauma and how we have so much trauma in our life that we're not addressing. That's why he's always like, stop stepping around the concept. But also Kendrick's ill with the double entendres. That stepping also was like, motherfuckers need to step their game up too. That's why the line when J. Cole says, if everybody steppers, I'm about to eat my breakfast. He was like, yo, bruh, if you trying to say you need to step my game up, all right, bro, I'm here I go. Let's go. So, in my opinion, definitely I could see J. Cole and Kendrick being a really interesting battle. And I don't know, it will come out to really down for like the bar game, but I think Kendrick may edge J. Cole just because Kendrick got energy the way that J. Cole don't have. I don't think J. Cole has never been battle tested, and Kendrick has definitely put out a lot of music telling people I want to smoke, and nobody responds. The only people that responded was when he was the motherfuckers from the East Coast, where we made mad songs, like Papoose made a diss to Kendrick on. He never responded to him, but no big time artist came out and responded to him. And the only time I've ever seen J. Cole say a diss really was he dissed Kanye, and it wasn't really a diss. He just said a line about Kanye where he was just like, Kanye, I used to be inspired by you, but what has happened? Very conscious type rapping. I also seen him say something about Wale, where he just was like, well, I don't know why Wale acting like this. And Wale had a response to him. And then the No Name incident. But it never was something I was like, oh, he's really dissing him. He's never done that. So I think with Hit Cole, I don't think he has like the caliber to go against somebody like Kendrick. Now, Kendrick, when he came on Control, it was just like, I'm dissing all y'all. Kendrick got that energy. So if it was up to me on some betting shit, I think Kendrick's gonna take it. Like, I think Kendrick would take it. I think Kendrick has all the stuff in his caliber of music to make a hit. That if Drake decided to try to make a hit, I think Kendrick could match that hit. I think Kendrick got an audience of women and men that are going to both vibe with him. I think he got a worldwide audience. The way that Mr. Morale came out in different countries and people were crying about it. He just got an essence that I don't think a lot of artists are touching him when it comes to both worlds, women and men, fucking with your music. And I think that's what he has over Drake. And I think he also has that same thing over J. Cole. So I really feel if he came up to me, it would definitely go to Kendrick hands down as the winner. If they did decide to do a battle, who knows? This all could be some publicity stunt for us to go out and buy the albums. We don't know. It's hip hop nowadays. It's kind of corny when it comes to shit. Everybody doing publicity stuff. But look, that was my vision of it. I hope you enjoyed it. This is my podcast on who would take it in the crown, if the Kendricks, Coles, or fucking Drakes and shit. You know what I mean? We have these episodes every Friday, always dropping down different topics, different things that are happening in hip-hop. And if you enjoy it, definitely subscribe to my page. You know what I mean? But look, I really enjoyed this conversation, man. And as always, respect the grind, not the poser. Riddim And Poetry is a hip-hop experience centered around soul, excellence, and culture. And in due time, we're going to take over. Peace.